The second part of Bach's Klavierübung, keyboard exercise, consists of two pieces, the Italian concerto and the French Ouverture, written deliberately for a cembalo, a harpsichord with two manuals. Only these pieces are specifically for harpsichord with two manuals, plus the Goldberg variations. With all of the other Bach works, we do not know exactly what instrument he had in mind. And obviously, I am playing it on the wrong instrument, so I do apologize, but maybe those days are gone when you had to apologize for playing Bach on a modern piano. Let's have a happy coexistence with harpsichordists and early music people, and everybody should play Bach because the music is just so great. The matter is how you play it, not exactly what instrument you are playing it on. Here I would like to mention the fact that Bach was born in Germany, in Eisenach, and lived all his life in Germany. He traveled a bit, but only within Germany. He has never been to Italy, never been to France, never been to England, to Spain, unlike some of his contemporaries. For example, Georg Friedrich Händel was born in the same year as Bach in 1685, and he traveled a lot to Italy and lived most of his life in England. But Bach stayed in Germany, and yet he was so familiar with all the music of Europe and of his time. He studied all the time the French Baroque composers, Lully, Couperin, and Rameau, and also the Italian masters, Corelli, Vivaldi, Geminiani, Marcello. He made several transcriptions of their works, and in these two works he pays homage to those two wonderful European countries, Italy and France, by a German composer. And here, let's consider this today, that what is Europe about? Europe is about culture, not necessarily the economy, and not just commercial things. The diversity of culture, that's what makes Europe unique, and Bach is using here the Italian model, the French model. In the French Ouverture we will see the different dances, the German Allemande, the French courante, the Spanish sarabande, the Scottish or Irish jig. So this is what Europe is about. Now, musically speaking, these pieces are a tour de force because he is using orchestral forms. An Italian concerto by Vivaldi, let's say, it's for an orchestra with soloists, and there are sections played by the whole orchestra and sections played by the soloist or a couple of soloists. And so you have the concerto grosso and the concerto piccolo or concertino. And Bach manages to do that on a single instrument by one player. So it starts with the orchestra. the soloist, to the small group. In the second movement, it's even more obvious, the Italian model. We have in the left hand an ostinato, an obstinate figure. Vivaldi uses this kind of music very often. So this is like two violins, or a violinessa and a viola. And the bass, it's like two heartbeats. And above that, there is a wonderful cantilena, an endless singing line, like an oboe or like an oboe d'amore. Two-manual harpsichord, obviously the singing, the melodic voice is on the stronger manual. And Bach writes here dynamic instructions. So the lower voices are piano and the melodic voice is forte. So Italian concerto ends with a very brilliant presto movement, so very fast. So, especially in the third and the first movements, this is a very sunny, very optimistic piece of music, full of life and full of joie de vivre. The overture is in the key of B minor. As we said before, this is a very dark key. We have to think of the B minor fugue in the well-tempered clavier. Or the B minor mass, indeed. The Kyrie of the B minor mass. Now, the French ouverture is a genre that was created by Lully for the court of the French king Louis XIV. And it's a very festive music, the opening movement, with dotted rhythms. Pam. So actually it's not written that way, but one has to double dot. So if the music is written like this, but you have to play it like. And in the French court, they were using a lot of brass instruments, trumpets, and they were using drums. So that's why it's so festive. However, most of the French ouvertures are in major, like Bach's fourth partita, which is the perfect key for trumpets. And here we have a very dark one. In the middle section, we have a fugato, something like a fugue, like a three-part fugue, but it's very, very interesting. In 6/8 time, so very dance-like. It's a combination of a fugue and a dance. And here we also have the sections of the orchestra opposed to the solo section. Orchestra re-enters. This is a huge movement in 3 sections. So the festive French ouverture and the fugue, and then the dotted rhythms of the beginning return. So A variant is the form. Each movement has to be repeated. There are 11 movements in this ouverture, so it's a huge, huge concept. After the opening movement, we come to the dances, to the galanteries. And the first one is a courante. Now in French keyboard music of Couperin and Ramon, there is something that the French call note inégale, uneven notes. So the music is written in equal note values. But we play it a little uneven. Today we would say a little bit jazzy, but it's not jazz. Then comes a pair of gavottes. So this is in B minor, and the second gavotte comes in the parallel major, D major. And then it's da capo, so after the second gavotte, the first gavotte returns. Then comes a pair of passe-pieds. A passe-pied is a fast dance in triple time. It's like a fast minuet. And the second passe-pied is in B major. I played the second passe-pied considerably slower because it's nowhere written that 2 passe-pieds have to be in the same tempo. So luckily with Bach we have obligations, but also liberties. He gives us a huge freedom. Now comes the Spanish sarabande, which is the centerpiece of this. This is a very solemn, very slow dance. It was in Spain in the middle of the Inquisition period. This dance was banned in the Spanish court because of its very erotic nature. In Bach's hands, it's I don't find it very erotic, but Bach is raising this music in this dance into the highest spheres. Then we come back down to earth with a pair of Boulez, which is very fiery, fast French dance. With all these ornaments, and it's full of spirit and full of spice. The second one is more gentle. After this comes the jig, which usually is the final movement of a suite or a partita, but not here. However, this is only in two voices, but very, very lively and characteristic. The jig was a sailor's dance in Scotland and in Ireland. So sailors, when they have had a glass of rum or whiskey or whatever. And so this would have been the closing movement, but Bach adds another tour de force, and he ends this wonderful French ouverture with a movement called echo. As far as I know, this is the only example of an echo. So obviously that comes from nature, that in the mountains you say something and then you hear another mountain answering. But how does Bach do this? So this young again he uses the two manuals of the harpsichord, up and down and the opposite, and again like an orchestra and the soloist. There's it's one of the very few examples of Bach always giving us instructions of dynamics, forte and piano, and all these levels indicating the full orchestra as opposed to the solo group. And this echo movement ends this wonderful composition, which has its dramatic and tragic moments, but in spite of the key of B minor, without retard, and he finishes on a very positive note. With the Italian concerto and the French overture, we complete the second part of Bach's Klavierübung, keyboard exercise. Thank you for your attention.